Hello. Welcome to the 6 months to six figures series of the W Freelancing podcast. I'm your host, Zach Swinehart. And in this series, you'll follow a specific freelancer, in this case, Brad here. Hello, Brad. As I coach them from early stages to earning a six-figure annual income, which breaks down to $8,333 a month. So my challenge with the series is to see how quickly we can get Brad earning that money, with the goal being to get them there in 6 months. So in the series, I'll connect with Brad every week or two, and the format closely follows what we do in the DYF Accelerator community. So if you want to get coaching like this for yourself, you can join the community at dyf.link/DYFA. So let's dive into the interview. Brad, hello.
Hi.
I have it down that your homework last week, and for those of you guys listening, I know Brad had an exciting big week with really cool new projects I'm excited for him for. But nonetheless, let's connect on homework. I had it down 70 minutes a day on the Upwork outreach strategy, 1 cycle a day on that Brian Harris outreach strategy, and then at least 3 cycles a day on client work. But I guess you could start, Brad, by addressing each. How did those go?
I did 0 cycles of the Brian Harris strategy, so we can get that one out of the way. I did. It was confusing because I do think I did about a cycle a day on Upwork outreach. However, it didn't look like I expected it would, just sending lots of looms. I did send a handful of looms, but actually I spent a lot of time responding to the last couple of weeks of looms. For some reason, those responding to the warmer leads that were interested in setting up a call or whatever, they took me a long time. Like one of them took me an hour, and I don't exactly know why, but it took me an hour of just looking over their site and thinking about what I was going to say and recording a couple different versions and stuff. So it was weird. I did spend about a cycle per day on Upwork outreach, but it wasn't just pounding out new looms.
Okay.
And then 3 cycles of client work is about right. But again, I said the theme of today is confusion because, well, I think I know the answer, but I feel like I've worked harder in this week than I have in years, maybe. But I looked at my Upwork earnings for the week and they're meager. So it's I know what's going on, but it's just, I just feel confused at myself in a lot of ways. But yeah, so as far as just the homework, yeah, the 1 cycle of outreach is about right, maybe a little over in some days. And if you include follow-up, having discovery calls with a couple of people and, starting a new client relationship, which we'll talk about, it was probably a little over 1 cycle on the outreach type stuff. And 3 cycles on average on client work, but that doesn't play out in the numbers, so that must not be true.
Did you track all your time?
I did track all my time, yeah.
So when you're saying you feel like this was the busiest week, but it's not reflected in stuff, where did your time go? Can we see the big breakdowns?
Yeah, we could see the big breakdowns. I know it all went to my creator business stuff. I was editing video for other things, which somewhat ties into this strategy, but yeah, it's so. Are we talking about last week specifically or this? Well, since it's Friday, I'm thinking about this week.
Yeah, let's do, because I think we spoke on Friday. Let me see. Or maybe it was Thursday. I'm just trying to check when we spoke last. Okay, we spoke last Thursday. So yeah, if you just give me a toggle report for Thursday the 10th through Thursday the 17th, I think that's what would be nice to look at. Because that essentially reflects the time since we chatted.
Okay.
And if you could share your screen, I'll take a look.
Through the 17th.
Yeah.
I see. So here we have it.
And can you descending by duration, please? Sorry, over on the right, there's a little word duration, uppercase, small. Just click it 2 times. Yeah, nice. Okay. Oh, so creator video editing, that's your own stuff.
Yep.
Creator video filming, that's your own stuff.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
That's
Understood. Okay. So for the people listening, I'm going to give a little recap. So I am seeing 42 hours tracked for Brad since we last spoke, 10.5 hours on creator video editing, 7.5 on creator video filming, 4.5 on Upwork client work, 2.5 on Upwork outreach Loom videos, 2.5 on non-client work, 2 on Upwork outreach searching, 1.5 on lunch, but everyone's got to eat lunch. So, and then an hour on creator podcast, an hour on creator stats, almost an hour on creator newsletter, a half hour on the creator blog. So let me add up these creator ones real quick. Actually, can you just scroll to the top because you're doing a good job tracking this? Let's just say, go to the project one and let's just like click only the creator projects. I'm just curious. So 42 hours total. Let's see what the creators are of that. And by the way, great job on the time tracking rack. That's looking really good. I know that you feel like I'm going to scold you and I'm not. I think this is great. So just click out and it should do it. Okay, so 42, literally exactly half of Brad's time. So we got 21 hours on creator stuff out of 42 total. So without Brad, without you thinking Zach's going to say a certain type of thing, like what if this were just you in isolation, I wasn't here, you were just looking at this, like how would it make you feel?
It's a conflict of a lot of things, like unanchored to finance. This is exactly how I want to be spending my time. Like I would be proud, you know?
Okay.
And the distribution even reflects like how much more I want the creator business to work than I do the freelancing. But, and this is where, even without you here, my own feelings about myself is just like, why? Like, why am I still trying? Well, okay. I mean, I don't know. Like from a higher perspective, I see why I'm trying because I really want it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what you want to do.
It's what I want to do.
Freelancing is like just a way to get the bills paid, basically.
Correct. So I guess it's being reflected, but I also just feel like it's not the right choice for right now, but it is the right choice for me overall. It's just, you know.
So,
I don't know.
I mean, something we haven't talked about is like, is there a way that you could find ways to do the creator business work that could be driving some like easy revenue, like some done for you kind of revenue? Like, are you getting leads from this work right now, or is this kind of just putting out top of funnel stuff to hopefully one day build a following, or like?
I have been able to get a couple of students to this weekly coaching thing, which is really exciting, but not a lot of money, but you know. And I have gotten a couple. So I've made about $100. I made 97 plus 999 so far.
Okay.
That's recurring, but it'll take a year to recur. So, and I made a $12 affiliate commission from one of the videos I put out. So that was exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a whole strategy. It's all good and it's what I want to do, but it's just not fast enough. I feel like neither strategy is fast enough, but probably because I'm splitting between the two. Like, yeah.
To me, the ideal world is where, so think about Brennan. He talks about email personalization. That's like his thing now. And he has his Right Message SaaS. He has courses at Create and Sell, and he now has an agency component to Right Message. And I was chatting with him the other day. Last update I got from Brendan was July 20th. He was like, hey, I'm thinking of starting an agency. I spoke with him on our weekly call 2 days ago. I was like, hey, how's that agency going? He's like, oh, cool. Yeah. Our first month, now we're clearing $100,000 a month net. I'm like, what? And the nice thing when you have all of your different pots kind of aligned with one lead source, like for him, create and sell generates leads for RightMessage, it generates leads for his agency, like all of these things kind of tie together. That seems really good because it means that any work you do on one helps the other, and it's not like this battle. And I feel like there's got to be a really good opportunity here for you where your air quotes creator business could be one that is generating like video freelance work, but that also supports you growing the kind of more product-based business you want to long-term.
Yeah. There's a loose connection in that, I spent some time researching people who are specifically starting short form content agencies right now. And one thing that all of them said is like, well, you have to be showing that you're doing short form content on your social media. So like that component is there, that does intertwine them. And and maybe this could be my next test, is I could spend some time you've been recommending from the beginning, but I think I finally see like I see the first path of like how it could really connect is just like if I were to focus the creator content for a week on the short form content agency, I've noticed that in my estimation, the niche is not very competitive. Like it's a handful of people who aren't super good at YouTube, and their channels or those videos that they make about the short form agency get somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 views. And I don't think it's because of their being awesome at YouTube, which is a good sign. So there is some demand out there for this specific content where I could be like showing people what I'm doing inside the short form content agency. And all of that is only because, we've been iterating what my offer is, and I've landed on this short form thing. So I do think there's a synergy there. I could probably get some views. I could probably grow fairly fast and kind of like get a foothold in that niche as one of my many niches that my creator business would cater to, but it would be hyper relevant to what I'm doing right now. Yeah. I can literally just show like, hey, this is what I did today for a client, or this is how I got my first client, or this is how.
Exactly. And if I may, this is something Maya has had really good success with on her Instagram for lead gen, is that she gets most of her leads from Insta, and she will post stories that are basically just miniature case studies where she's talking about wins for a client. And you were talking in the pre-interview, you were talking about this whole building publicly. And to me, like, the pro strat here is if you have to be careful. This is something that I notice most freelancers make this mistake. You have to be careful when you're creating content, because most freelancers naturally create content for themselves. So a developer will write a blog post about like how to write code. You have to be careful not to do that with your short form videos. So if you make videos about how to edit a video, I think that would be strategically unwise. But if you create short form videos about how short form videos can grow your business and get you leads, I think that would be sick. And the reason I think that'd be sick is because the person watching that and being intrigued by that is the exact kind of person who wants to hire you. Whereas the person who watches one about how to edit a video is not the person who would hire you. So if all of your short form video is like, here are 5 tips for how to make a good YouTube short, I would watch that. If you made one that was like, here's how my client got 20 leads this week thanks to these YouTube shorts. Here's how their YouTube channel grew. Here are my best tips. Here are the mistakes people make when making shorts. Like all of these kinds of things, these would be such good lead gen and such good build in public kinds of things. And they'd be such great assets when you are talking with somebody on Upwork for you to be able to like point to your like bursting TikTok with viral videos that are the exact thing that you're talking about doing with them. Like if that scratches your creator itch, then that to me is the gold mine. I think that's what we need for you. And I think that's maybe what anyone with ADHD needs, is a way that they don't have to like try to be someone they're not and just knuckle through, because it doesn't work. But rather a way to like scratch that interest itch in a way that still makes sense for where you're at right now. How does this all sound to you?
Yes, I think You're right. In fact, I was thinking, okay, I was like, I should interview all of these short form content agency owners for my podcast, which
I think it's smart.
I mean, that in itself, actually, the way that I've been doing my podcast, each hour, my build in public case studies right now are not so much about leads and sales, unfortunately, yet. They will be soon, but they're about, I sat down with this guy for an hour and now I have 40 clips. I just posted that on my Twitter this morning. Like, that's real.
That's a great one. Yeah. That's dope.
And that alone is appealing to a lot of people I know. So if I were to do that, but with some of these short form content creators, I think they'd be very easy to get on a podcast because they're all like early 20s. Like, this is their first thing, this is their first business, but they're doing really well. So they're making like 10K a month or whatever. And I could talk, and the content of those interviews would be how to get leads, how to grow a business, and
I think,
and even if it catches some like people who want to start this business, that's fine too, because I know how to make courses. I know how to, get coaching clients or something like that off the back of that.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's really cool about podcasting, that as I start mine for this agency side project, I've been coming to appreciate, is that by being a podcast host, you don't have to start out as the domain expert. All you're doing is curating the knowledge. And so even if you're not directly as the guru saying, here's how to get wins for your clients, but you have an agency owner on who has gotten wins for their clients and they teach that stuff, then over time, this is obviously going to level you up. And soon you will be the guru. And then in the meantime, you're still in charge of the information, and a natural call to action at the end of like, obviously, if you're having agency owners on and you're simply interviewing them, for the guest or for the listener of that specific episode, they're probably going to be a lead for your guest. But as your expertise grows, as your wins grow, then you can do the common format that I see Joe Casabona doing, that I plan to do with mine. I see a lot of people doing, where I'll probably have one episode a week as a guest interview and one episode a week as a Zach solo teaching you stuff. And in your Brad teaching about wins from video episode, like, that's obviously really good soul CTA lead gen kind of thing. So, and one other note for you, by the way, I know that so I've been developing this theory around niching, that maybe the best way to choose a niche is to choose an audience that you are either in or want to be in, if you're going to do content marketing. And I know that you've been getting some good traction with like asking freelance book authors and stuff. There's no reason that your target market, if you wanted it to be, couldn't be agencies. There are plenty of agencies who would benefit from short form content to grow their agency. And any strategies you do in the meantime to get you leads would apply to your clients too. So there are a lot of different directions you could take this while still doing your creator stuff. I think it would just mean you have to be kind of fastidious and discerning and say, like, does making this Brain FM video, is it going to get me clients? Is it going to establish me as a short form content authority? If not, it means I'm only doing it for fun. And how much more fun is it than if I were to do something about mistakes people make making YouTube shorts? And then that maybe you could use that to make the decision. I have to do this with myself sometimes.
Yeah. And usually the lead of all this stuff is I have to give myself permission to dive deep into the thing, right? Like, if I allow myself to dive deep into short form content and like literally watch every video there is on it, then my brain will be swimming with this stuff and I'll be interested in it. And then I can start, then I'll want to do the interviews. I want to talk about the stuff. I want to share the things I'm learning, like I'm building again, if we just take out the money stuff, like the literal, like pay my bills stuff for this month and the next, like I'm stoked. Like I've built this amazing content machine, like, the Brain FM stuff, like what that actually is an output of a system I've built, which is a system that has allowed me to publish an email every single day for the last 3 weeks, which is amazing. I haven't been able to do that in years. Like I've been wanting to publish an email daily, and it wasn't until I built, like, reoriented everything to be this like video first thing. So it is all working together. It's just, I think you're right that like I need to point it more specifically for a while, like,
yeah, it's like a machine that processes the input, but you gotta, by the way, are you crinkling like some candy wrapper? What is this sound I hear?
Sorry.
What is it?
It's Velcro.
Okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think of it as almost like this machine that it's like a sawmill, you know? If you put wood logs into the top, boards come out. If you put Pez dispensers in, chopped up Pez dispensers come out, or something, you know? And in this case, like we just need to put the wood, well, this is going to get like a weird sort of sexual thing. We just need to put the logs inside of the log cutter thingy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, though, I think this is really cool. So you've been publishing newsletters. So you'll shoot a video, you'll chop it up into a short or like a normal YouTube video, or what are you doing? And then you write something from it?
Yeah. The big thing is I just give myself a theme every day. So every day I have a different theme, and it's the same every week, but I can talk about whatever I feel like in that moment, right? So it ends up being maybe about a 10-minute video, and then I just do some basic editing to that into script, and then I publish that. And while I watch it, if there happen to be any clips that I think are interesting to put on short form, I'll make them. But if not, that's fine too. But that video gives me an excuse to mail my list every day. That's not exhausting because I'm giving them like real content that I spent time and effort and energy creating, which is a video, you know? It's like, yeah.
And so you are not like writing a newsletter. The newsletter is kind of like, hey, I made a video, go check it out.
Exactly.
Cool.
Which reduces the burden for me to spend time copywriting, which I'm good at, but it takes a lot of energy for me.
Yeah. I was trying to do that with the DYF list, and then I sent a little survey thing where I was like, hey, by the way, do you like the text newsletters or the video ones, or do you like both? And it was like like a 5 or 6 to 1 ratio. But that makes sense because the DYF newsletter has always been a text newsletter. In your case, people are used to seeing you on video. So I'm just sad I don't get to do it. Sad I don't get to.
Well, I would add that if you use Descript or whatever, your video is immediately basically an email.
Not really. I'm not happy with the no, because you can't just send a transcript. It's not something to read. And I've tried getting ChatGPT to do it. It doesn't work. I did hire a writer who can, I told you this in email, like he did a good job. Took me about an hour to edit it to get it where I wanted versus 6. But that's like recurring expense and still time. I'll do it one day. But yeah, anyway, back to you. I just wanted to snapshot into this. So with all of this tied together, I am excited about where I'm seeing you going, because when we first started this, we knew you wanted to do some video stuff. And it seems like as we go on, you're getting more confident. And most importantly, you're finding more precedent that going the short form route as your thing, perfectly viable. Are you leaning right now more towards serving creators? Like you got this big client this week who's a creator, SEO, writer type of person, like a content creator, or are you wanting to, like, who are you thinking you want to serve at this point?
Well, I think I landed on like a better group, which I had this note where I was like, so I did creators, coaches, and consultants, which is pretty common, which is why I didn't do it in the first place. But then I thought about it and I was like, actually, those are the people who are best served by this, and I'm the most familiar with. Like,
yeah.
And I realized, and you know, this is like been in every kind of like inbound strategy I've ever listened to, but the ClickFunnels crowd is probably a dead bullseye for me because I am well-versed in direct response marketing. I'm well-versed in coaching. I'm well-versed in, now I'm learning about the consulting and freelance world as well. And that's really like, those are the 3 circles of ClickFunnels people. So, you know, anybody who has a funnel is selling a product as well. So it's like a pre-qualifying kind of thing. And coaches want to get their message out there, you know, that's their business. So I think, but I like the creator space the most, to be honest, because that's what I want to do. So like, I want to talk to people who are trying to, you know, build creator businesses, solopreneurs and stuff, but
yeah,
they're not always the best clients for me right now.
What I'm curious about though is like, so I was having this experience this week where I was doing the sort of lead magnet teardowns to post in the community. And I was reminded of like that strategy of like what Chanel Basilio did with Growth in Reverse, where she's doing the kind of reverse engineering of people's things and like posting those publicly. And the reason it's such a cool strategy, I think, is that if you tag that person in your public post, you often can start a relationship that way. And it just strikes me that given that you're enjoying talking about short form videos so much, like it seems like there could be some cool opportunity for you to choose a creator who you like, who you spot an opportunity with, post something publicly where it's almost like their video teardown, where you say, this is what I think this person's doing well. Here's some areas where I think they could improve by repurposing content they already have. And here are like 5 shorts that I literally just made to show you an example. Like you use a YouTube downloader tool to download their podcast off YouTube. You make the shorts, you publish those with your teardown, you tag the person to let them know that you did this. And that's like such a good foot in the door for you to then do this work for them. Like with doing something, like I found it really fun to do this with the lead magnets the other day because I enjoy CRO and stuff. And so if I decide to take my agency in a CRO direction, I could totally do this exact thing and be like, if I had the ability to edit this person's opt-ins, these are the tests I'd run. I'd try this, I'd try this, I'd try this. I could mock it up in Photoshop. Like I could do all these things. And then if I did manage to get in touch with them, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd love to just do this for you for free. And if you like it, we work together. Like, would this feel fun to you? Would this tick that creator box? Because if so, this would be, I think, a good viable lead gen strategy to make that time really go far in terms of putting money in your pocket.
Most of it does. The teardown thing, that's not really my vibe, but I know what you mean. And
yeah, so maybe not teardown, but like here's some opportunities I see where they could get even more results.
Yeah, and definitely like the making of free. Like I think the next step for me, which obviously I want to hear what you think, but I think I really have to focus on that specific, like just the short form things. Like I need to make lots of them in the next couple of weeks. Like, and ideally that's really cool. I like that because on Twitter you can like tag people really easily and they pay attention, you know? If you post something in the comments of a YouTube video, the person's never going to see it. But if you tag them on Twitter, there's a good likelihood that they'll actually see it. So I like the free, that's the Santa Claus method, right? From Brian Harris is like, I guess it's called Santa Claus because you're giving them gifts.
I guess.
But I love that, you know, and the short form videos, they don't take an extreme amount of effort, you know, like they do take effort, but probably in an hour I could make 3 or 4 for each creator that like would stand on their own and get their attention. And if I did that a bunch, somebody would say yes for sure.
So what do you think about this strat? What if your Twitter, your Nomad Brad or whatever your main thing is, like what if your whole thing became short form and even your Twitter bio, like short description thingy was like, I specialize in helping creators grow their brands with short form video. And that's like your hook. So if someone clicks your Twitter profile, it becomes super duper obvious. This is what this guy is. He is this guy. And then you could literally create Twitter posts, like whatever content interests you to listen to. Ideally not, the only exception being how to create short form videos, because that wouldn't really be strategically useful. But let's say you listen to a DYF podcast episode that you like. You could, while you're listening, chop out your shorts. And then you could post those on YouTube and say, here is one of my top 5 favorite moments from this episode that @Zach from DYF did. And then now I see this and I'm like, wow, that was so cool. And you could even have like the captions over it, do some cool stuff. I clicked your profile and I see you. And you could do like 5 of these for each podcast episode. And you just do it as little gifts. And you could even send them a DM and like send them a zip file. This is something I'm planning to do with my podcast. Send them a zip file of all of these shorts so that they can post them on their own social media if they want to, with their logo. Your logo's nowhere. It's just a gift for them. I would be so surprised if that didn't get you clients.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah. So I can post them to Twitter because Twitter isn't like, you know, like I don't think I would want to post those to like my YouTube shorts or TikTok or anything, because that's like not my content, right?
Yeah. And they wouldn't get like notified, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think Twitter is the place for this strategy. And actually my tagline currently is very similar to what you just said. Could maybe be tweaked a little bit, but that's kind of where I've landed, is like I hope creators, coaches, and consultants grow with short form video or something. Like that's what I'm trying, I mean, it is working because I just got my first Trojan horse client from that. So, but yeah, I like that. That, cause I need a lot more practice. Number one, like I just need to become like fucking amazing at short form videos. And I'm like, I'm okay, I'm good, but I'm not amazing yet. And I think that there's a big opportunity because I watch a lot of short form content and like the world hasn't caught up yet. Everybody sees Alex Hormozy as like the standard, and that's what I've learned is the Alex Hormozy style. I can do Alex Hormozy videos, like 80% probably. I could work on a little bit, but they're not doing it. Like nobody's doing it, and that's another reason I'm excited about this as the agency is like they're not doing it. All these coaches, they have shitty captions. They don't look that cool. So if I can send them 5 that will be above their bar, it has to work. And it gives me more practice. Like it's just, it doesn't hurt me at all. It shows off my work on like the other student you have that you mentioned. It'll just be my portfolio kind of. Yeah. It's my Twitter. Man, this is a really, really, really good idea. And the smaller the creators are, the more likely they are to be like, could you just do it for me?
Yeah. And pro tip thought is, I think when you do these posts, be sure to word them in a way that like, you don't just say, hey, here's a video I made from this episode. Also word it like, Zach from DYF is doing such cool stuff. I love his podcast. Go follow him. He's so cool. Here's a video I made from one of my things. You could do that several times. Like, because then the person seeing that, it's like extra. Like you're sending them free leads and stuff.
Yes. Oh my God, I love this. This is like a win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
Yeah.
I love it. It's giving tons of value.
Yeah.
That's my vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's really close to money, I think.
Are you going to handle, I think that the big objection is like, I'm thinking, what if Brad did this for me? Well, the big objection on my part is like, okay, well, that's cool. It's nice to have this video, but now I have to like go post it on TikTok. I have to like stay on top of social media. So I think that's what's going to really make it the sexy sell is if it's not just, hey, Zach, I made you this zip file. Here you go. Enjoy your new homework assignment. But it was like, I'm going to handle all this for you. I schedule everything out in Meet Edgar. So these shorts will automatically go out on your YouTube, on your TikTok, on your Insta without any touching from you. It's just all like clockwork. Every time you post a new podcast episode, you just hit me up with the video file, or I edit your podcast for you if you decided you wanted to do that. And then I just schedule them out. Your podcasts come out every week. Every time you send me one, I schedule out a week worth of shorts. So it's just always going to happen everywhere. I also make Canva images for these quotes to put on your Insta, like whatever you want to do. Like, I think if you can think about ways to do that, and it's from a fulfillment perspective, it's why I don't do social media yet. It's a lot to manage. You'll probably need a team to do that well. Otherwise you're going to, but then again, I have my mental blocks about social media. It's just hard for me to manage so many little things, but I think it's because of my ADHD, and you have ADHD. So I don't know. For me, managing like a million different tasks that I have to remember is very, very difficult. I don't know if that's an ADHD thing or just a Zach thing, but trying to manage multiple clients' entire social media suites, I think that would be hard for me without someone on team to do it. But maybe for that, we talk about that for another session. But for today, simply these videos seems like a good thing. What is there anything you want to get a quick take on before we go?
Well, having looked at my time distribution and knowing that I still need to make money. Also, another thing I wanted to check in, I was like, I think we're 2 months in to the 6 months. And I thought, well, maybe this is just a way of me kind of being mean to myself. But I thought, well, that's not really fair to Zach that he's trying to get me to 6 figures in 6 months and I'm spending 3/4 of my time on something else, which, I have told you I had about 6 hours a day to work on client stuff. So, but am I actually doing that? I don't know. So I kind of felt some guilt there.
That makes sense. I mean, To me, it doesn't matter. I think this series is going to be valuable for people either way. Like, I like the idea of being able to say that we got you to this arbitrary number within this arbitrary amount of time. But the main goal, I think, of this series, and of not even the series, but just me coaching you, is just to help you build the business chops and to, in your case, help you get some visibility into some of the habits you might have that are sabotaging you, and helping you create structures to alchemize your self-sabotaging habits into ones that both scratch the itch that causes them to exist in the first place, but also serve you more strategically. So to me, you spending what I believe was 21 hours on something that did not directly immediately move the needle is something for us to look at and maybe tweak. I don't see it as a failure, and I certainly don't see it as you like letting me down. So the only thing you would do that would let me down would be if you just like fucked off and didn't do the series anymore. As long as you keep trying and you keep an open mind and stuff, like, you're succeeding as far as I'm concerned. And as long as you keep picking yourself up whenever you fall down, you're succeeding. That's all I care about. So the fact that I see you doing your time tracking and not hiding where this time's going, and you still come to these, I think it's a smashing success. I'm very proud of you for that. So don't worry about me.
Okay.
But in terms of the time itself, I think there is a way to see this time as a win. Like, the win is that we learned you're spending a fuck ton of time on your creator business, and you're doing that for a specific reason. And I know with my own ADHD, I know better than to just say, Brad, you're not allowed to do that. Sorry, mate. It's just not gonna work. So I just want to find a way where it can be immediately valuable. It sounds like with this new large client you got this week, from what you were saying, it sounds like you can do a lot of work for this client, but I didn't see a lot of hours tracked for this client. So did you find a way to spend as much time as they authorized? Like, can you do that much work for them?
I want to. I actually love the project, and I'm doing my best to just I deliver as much value as I can in the time that I'm tracking. I just find it hard to keep. I mean, number one, I don't believe it's right to just find time, right? Like, I'm not trying to do that. So I want to make every second count when I'm working on that stuff. And I think I can get maybe 5 more hours this week, but I think I'll need to get to our next step, which will include some communication with that client to authorize me. But yeah, I do think I can fill up my Upwork time with maybe just this one client. And like I said, I love the project, and it's still hard for me to sit down and start the work, but once I start doing it, I love it. I'm having tons of ideas, and it's in my wheelhouse. It's something I did a lot. So there's definitely a lot of good stuff that could come from that. I'm scared, to be honest, to screw it up. So I think that is one reason that it's hard for me to sit down, is because I'm just scared of screwing it up, which is not it's very fragile, thinking, but
yeah. Well, something that I've noticed with myself is that I find it quite motivating if there's a certain type of work that I find tedious or whatever. I find it motivating to know I don't have to do it forever. And one thing that your time logs have made quite clear is that you really do enjoy creating this top of funnel content for yourself, at least for now. So the thing that I would really like to validate for this next week, I don't know how tenable this split from last week is, in terms of you paying your bills. That's a whole other conversation that you need to be real with yourself about. We don't have time to dive in today. But what I would like to validate, if you can afford to this next week, spend whatever allocation you're going to spend, knowing though that what you probably air quote should spend is what we discussed before, which is 70 minutes a day on Upwork, 1 cycle a day on Brian Harris Strat, 3 cycles a day on client work. But maybe here's the question. Can you afford, with your current client load and this large client who you could do more work for, could you afford to go a week where you didn't add any new clients to the books, you didn't do any of that Loom Upwork strategy? Could you afford to do that?
I actually think I could, theoretically. If I can max out this week and next week for the big client, I think I could actually.
Okay, so here's your homework assignment if you choose to accept it. I would like you to just say, Brad, mate, you don't need to do any of that bullshit Upwork Loom video thing for 1 week, but here's the deal. you do not get to make YouTube videos about Brain FM. All of your YouTube videos, all of your TikTok, all of your for fun video content that you make, it needs to be strategically valuable for your short form video editing business. It needs to be something that can get you a client ideally within 2 weeks. And that can look two ways. Number one, it can be a foot in the door with a course creator guest to get them on your podcast, nurture the relationship. And when you follow up with them, like you're in the blueprint, so you know this deal. The flow of the blueprint for the listeners, like basically, if you do the podcast technique, you get someone on your podcast, you build a relationship with them, and you follow up with them later to get their take on your positioning and your service offering for clients like them. Not necessarily them, but they often end up being interested. So to me, Brad, if you feel that this is something that you would be happy to do, it could be like the huge mega boon for you. If it can be fun for you to create your creator content, but always something that either builds a relationship or gets you a client with a creator you like. Like I still haven't seen you make any short form content for me. You know, like there are so many opportunities for you to do these with different creators and stuff. If you can find a way for that to be fun, then that means you don't have to do the stupid Upwork Loom thing anymore that you don't like. It means that your lead gen can be something you literally have fun with. And if you think about that Delia Monk interview, that was her big takeaway, is like cold outreach should be fun. That was what she said, is like, make it fun. And since she's a copywriter, she makes it fun for herself by writing emails that the prose is engaging. It's like a work of art when she sends a cold outreach email. The Brad version of that is that your cold outreach is your art form with your video. Your video is the cold outreach vehicle. So if you can find a way to spend 21 hours a week or 21 hours this week creating short form video that will potentially get you clients or get you relationships with people who would be good clients, that is the gold. And I would just be so blown away if you did the time you did last week in a very targeted, strategic way for another week or two without getting clients from it. Like I would be shocked, because you're doing a lot of output. You're putting Pez dispensers into your sawmill, you know?
You're right.
So how do you feel about that? Do you like that homework?
That's awesome. I'm really excited about it, actually.
I look forward to my free short form videos.
Yeah. Actually, what if I just watched this again and pulled out clips? Would that be useful?
Yeah, sure.
To you?
Sure.
I'll try that as an experiment. Where are these being published right now?
Not yet.
Okay, cool.
Basically, the podcast production pipeline takes a lot of time, and I don't want to start putting these things out in the world until I'm sure that we can consistently fulfill all of the production requirements.
Yeah.
Soon. But I'll send you a link directly to it after we're off the phone.
Awesome.
Woo. So you like the homework?
I do. I felt relief when you said I didn't have to do the Upwork strategy. But with the caveat that all of my creative content has to be within this very narrow thing. And again, I think I can get a foothold in this niche pretty fast and start getting some clients, I think. So this is perfect. Yeah, this is good.
Cool. So then I guess that's good. Is there anything you want to, I guess we're over time, but is there anything you want to ask before we go?
I think that's pretty good for our time.
Cool. All right. Well then, at this point, dear listener, if you enjoyed this episode, please do like it, subscribe, leave good reviews. It helps us create helpful stuff for you and helps you get it consistently. And if you want coaching like this, you can join the Accelerator and get this in weekly office hours, back and forth like this. The link for that is dyf.link/DYFA. If you want to learn more about Brad's business, you can check him out on all the various platforms at the Nomad Brad. So, Brad, we will make sure not to hang up. I'll hit stop. And for you, the listener, thanks so much for being here. See you in the next one. Bye.